Seeing so many people and organizations coming together for a just cause reminds me of the old saying about how evil only triumphs when good people do nothing. Well, not here, not in Alberta. In Alberta, good and decent people are fighting the stain of human trafficking. It's a sick trade run by sick individuals for sick ends. It persists in the shadows, destroying the bodies and minds of vulnerable, innocent people, mostly women and girls, and often Indigenous people. And Alberta's government is doing its part to end this disgrace. Unfortunately, we don't need to look too far for evidence of human trafficking in Alberta. Earlier this month, work by the Alberta Law Enforcement Response Team resulted in 3 individuals from Edmonton facing numerous human trafficking charges. In May, a Calgary man was charged with multiple offences, including charges related to human trafficking. In February, an Edmonton man was charged with multiple offences, including trafficking in persons. These 3 examples alone include over 20 identified victims, with police and organizations trying to identify and support dozens of victims. We can't afford to close our eyes to this problem, and we can't afford to ignore those who are at risk of being trafficked or those who have been trafficked. That's why we will be spending $22 million over the next 3 years to implement the recommendations of Alberta's Human Trafficking Task Force, which, as you know, was chaired by Paul Brandt. One of those recommendations was setting up the Alberta Office to Combat Trafficking in Persons. This office shouldn't be necessary, and hopefully one day we will no longer need it. But until that time, this office will bring together survivors of human trafficking with community partners like social services providers and Indigenous organizations who are best positioned to help find a way out and a path forward. Our goal is to create a hybrid model that extends across the province, disrupting and dissolving trafficking networks while helping survivors to recover and rebuild. To succeed, we need to understand survivors' stories and gather insights that help survivors escape and heal. We also need more comprehensive on-the-ground information about how human traffickers operate and how they hide their activities so that we can stop them in their tracks. The Alberta Office to Combat Trafficking in Persons will combine these approaches, allowing everyone involved to share knowledge so that we can better protect victims, survivors, and others at risk of exploitation. Through this office with our partners, we are joining forces to stamp out the trade in human flesh and misery, because no one should have their lives derailed into sex work, exploited for labor, or trafficked for body parts. No one who has endured this trauma should be left to suffer in silence, and no family should be left to wonder what happened to their loved ones. Justice, compassion, and reconciliation demand action to fight human trafficking and support survivors. New and improved responses are on the way through this office and the people in it.